Good evening, everyone. If anyone in the audience required a headset for Spanish translation, please raise your hands and a device will be provided to you. Buenas tardes a todos. Si alguien en la audiencia requiere unos audífonos para traducción en español, por favor levanten su mano y un dispositivo se les va a proveer. ¿Sí escuchan? Okay. Welcome everyone to the Palm Springs Unified School District regular meeting at the Board of Education. Today is Tuesday, June 10, 2025. I will not call the meeting to order. Can I get a roll call, please?
Board Member Cornett?
Here.
Board Member Girardi? Board Member Irvin?
Here.
Board Clerk Jarrell?
Here.
And Board President Espericueta?
Here. And next item is item 5B, Pledge of Allegiance. Member Charlie Irving will lead our Pledge of Allegiance.
Put your right hand over your heart. Ready? Begin.
You want to? Okay. Next item is the mission statement. And we'll read for Claire Giret. You want to read in English? Okay. And I will read in Spanish. Okay.
All members of Palm Springs Unified School District are united in our commitment to equity. We create deep, meaningful learning opportunities, build professionalism, and engage parents and communities to ensure success for all students. All students graduate with the skills, capacity, and confidence needed to succeed in a rapid changing world.
Thank you, Member Irving. I will read the statements in Spanish. Todos los miembros del Distrito Escolar Unificado de Palm Springs están unidos en nuestro compromiso con la equidad. Creamos oportunidades de aprendizaje profundas y significativas. Creamos profesionalismo e involucramos a los padres y a la comunidad para garantizar el éxito de todos los estudiantes. Todos los estudiantes se gradúan con las habilidades, capacidades y confianza necesaria para tener éxito en un mundo de cambio rápido. Next item is item 5D, land acknowledgement. Our land acknowledgement will be read by Member Charlie Irving. You have. We have it.
Palm Springs Unified School District acknowledges the Kauai as the original stewards of the land on which Palm Springs Unified School District facilities now sit. We are grateful to have. Can you hear me? Okay. Can you hear me? No? Okay. Can you hear me now? Okay. All right, I'll start over. Palm Springs Unified School District acknowledges the Kauai as the original stewards of the land on which Palm Springs Unified School District facilities now sit. We are grateful to have the opportunity to work with the indigenous people in this place. We pay our respects to the Kauai, past, present, and emerging, who have been here since the beginning, since the time of immemorial.
Thank you, Member Irving. Next item is item 6, report a closed session action. Claire Giret, are there any closed session action to report?
President Espericueta. I have 2 items to report out from this afternoon's closed session. First, the report relates to 2 items like 3A and 3B on the agenda. Regarding item 3B, conference with labor negotiators, unrepresented employee superintendent, unrepresented employee superintendent, no reportable action was taken in closed session. Now, regarding item 3A, public employee appointment superintendent. In closed session, by a unanimous vote of all 5 board members, the governing board of the Palm Springs Unified School District appointed Dr. Marcus Funches to serve as the district's new superintendent beginning July 1st, 2025. Member Cornett made the motion, and it was seconded by Member Irvin. I wish to point out that this board took no action during closed session on the superintendent employment agreement. As required by law, the employment agreement will be voted on at the board's June 24th regular meeting in open session. So, on behalf of the governing board and the entire district, congratulations, Dr. Funches.
Over there, Dr. Funch.
Just so it's more comfortable for you.
All right. Good evening, everyone. I am very excited about being here tonight. Thank you very much. I want to thank our board. I want to thank Board President Espericueta, our board members, our Palm Springs Unified staff, our scholars, families, and our educational partners. Thank you very much. I am incredibly proud and honored to stand before you tonight as the next superintendent of Palm Springs Unified School District. I am incredibly honored to be here. And I want to begin by sincerely thanking the Board of Education, Board President Espericueta, Board Member Karen Cornett, Board Member Madonna Jarrell, Board Member Charlie Irvin, and Board Member John Girardi. Thank you for your trust, your vision, your confidence in selecting me to serve in this role. Your dedication to finding a leader who aligns with PSUSD's values was both inspiring and affirming. I do not take this responsibility lightly, and I accept this appointment with immense gratitude and great resolve. I would also like to express my appreciation for Dr. Tony Signoret for his years of service and leadership, especially during challenging times. I am honored to continue the important work to help PSUSD move forward. And to the executive cabinet and to our leaders across the district, I am ready to join you in your efforts. I am ready to roll up my sleeve and continue building excellence across this district. To our educators, both in and out of the classroom, I look forward to supporting your work and your efforts to be the leading educators in this region, this Coachella Valley region. To our classified support staff, you matter and you are valued. I look forward to supporting your work across the district and getting to know you as well. And to our families, you are welcomed in this district. I watch the board meetings. I know that from viewing everything that's going on here. And to our union leaders, to our education partners, our business community, let's continue to work together to make Palm Springs Unified shine brightly. Thank you for your leadership, and I'm very proud of you. And last but not least, to our scholars. I see you, I hear you, I value you. I'm looking forward to working alongside you so that you can be the leaders of tomorrow. I'm almost finished, just hang tight. I want to thank my beautiful wife, Celeste, who's here with me tonight, and my 3 children, Henry, Kennedy, and Kimberly. It's because of you that I'm able to live out my purpose and do the things that I'm doing and to be accepted by Palm Springs Unified School District. And throughout my career, I want you all to know that I have remained committed to building systems that both value and grow people. I celebrate and I welcome diverse backgrounds. That same commitment will guide my leadership here in Palm Springs Unified. As we move forward together, my priorities are very clear and they align with the leadership profile that you created and that you developed. And here they are: to strengthen trust and transparency across the district. That's who I am. To ensure that every scholar and staff member feels safe, supported, and valued. To champion academic excellence and close opportunity gaps. And to build a shared vision, or continue to build that shared vision, so that our families and community partners are engaged in meaningful opportunities. And finally, Palm Springs Unified, we are at a defining moment, and I wholeheartedly believe that excellence lies ahead. I really believe that. That's who I am. Together, we will dream big, we will lead with purpose, and we will create a future rooted in collaboration and excellence. Trust and shared commitment and shared success. I truly am excited for this journey ahead, and I am honored to partner with each and every one of you. Thank you again, board, for this incredible opportunity, and I look forward to working alongside you. Let's move forward together, PSUSD. We got this.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Yeah. I would like the board to take a 5-minute break, please. Thank you. Ready? Okay, and now we move to item number 7, approval of the agenda. Before we approve the agenda, I would like to pull item 15F, which will be brought back to approval at a later date. May I have a motion to approve the agenda as amended?
Move for approval.
Second.
Any question? Please vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion passed. Item number 8, board consent items. Approval the meeting minutes for May 27, 2025 and May 31st, 2025. Can I get a motion to approve those minutes, please?
I move for approval.
Yeah, I'll second.
Any question? Please vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion passed. Item number 9, public comments. Claire Guerrero, have we received any electronic comments this night?
Board President Espericueta, we have not received any.
Yeah.
Oh, we did?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't see it.
It's in your notes.
Oh, my notes right here? Oh, yes. Okay, sorry. Yes, we have received one electronic comment, which has been distributed to the Board of Education.
Thank you. Remember here. And in-person comments, all comments are to be directed to the board, be under 3 minutes, and shall be devoid of any personal attacks. Members of the public are expected to maintain a professional, courteous decorum during public comments. Board members do not respond to public comments. We don't have any person. Do we have any member of the public who wish to address the Board of Education? No? Okay. Okay. No? Okay. We see no. We move to item number 10. Item number 10A, the governing board wishes to recognize and commend the following employees of the month for June 2025. We had a few videos.
You keep everyone motivated. The reason that we chose to recognize Autumn is because she is our cheerleader in fiscal services. She, when it comes to work, she really helps everyone out. We had a few new employees come into the department, and she was showing them tricks and tips on how to use Microsoft Excel, Google Sheets, and just really going to each person's desk without being asked and showing them, creating resources. And she gets people motivated. She has such an amazing energy about her, and she always focused on fitness and you suggesting different things people could do to get moving around the department. She's usually the catalyst, the thing that's really starting people to move out of their comfort zone when it comes to AI. Autumn, I'm just so happy to work with you. You are such an inspiration. You keep everyone motivated. So I just want to congratulate you on Employee of the Month.
We chose to recognize Yuki Umar, payroll specialist, because she truly goes above and beyond her normal duties all the time. There's nothing I can't ask her to do where she won't just dive in and have an idea or a solution. And if she doesn't know, she will know it. She'll find out.
Yuki just takes different projects on and runs with it. She recently updated our website and just came up with cool new ways to really set our website apart.
Well, Yuki is truly an Excel wizard. Like, she is someone I go to all the time, like to, edit my worksheets or come up with better ideas on how to process something. She's usually our go-to for the whole department. She's just such a pleasant person that it's hard not to just love her. So something that's inspiring to me about Yuki is she has a fear of public speaking. And I've just watched her over the last 2 years just get better and better and just become truly inspiring to me.
Yuki, you are such an inspiration to the group. Congratulations on your graduation from College of the Desert, and I'm just so proud of you.
Yuki, I find your ambition to be so inspiring. Even when you're at the top, you're still going for the top. We decided to honor Alina Howard, payroll specialist. She is just so reliable. We can count on her for everything. She has a long history with the district and community, so she's someone we can really count on. Her ability to just dive into anything and everything, she takes on a lot of challenges head on, and she also has a wealth of knowledge. And so I know that I can rely on her to do her due diligence for research and getting the right answer for us. Alina's taught me to be relentless. In the work that we do, it's very important. We deal with people's paychecks, their retirement, their future, so everything we do has to be perfect in an imperfect system. And that's something she's taught me, and it's something I take into my role as well.
Alina is just the go-to person. She is such an expert at payroll, and everyone looks up and is inspired by her.
Alina inspires me to be just a great mother, hands-on mother. She's a mother of 3 daughters. I'm a mother of 2 daughters, so we relate a lot about that. And just watching her be a mother, I take inspiration from that.
Alina, this has been a long time coming. I'm just really proud to have you as part of the group, and I'm just so thankful for all the expertise and all the additional training that you've done through the years with all the different payroll staff that came in. Thank you so much, Alina.
Alina, your dedication and knowledge is truly inspiring to me. Keep being you.
Okay, I would like to call to the front Alina, it's classified employees of the month, Alina Howard from Fiscal Services. Congratulations, Alina.
Thank you.
You would like to say the words to your family? Or
Oh,
your
thank you. Oh,
coworkers?
thank you. I feel so famous right now. Yes, I do want to say thank you to Palm Springs Unified. I am going on my 13th year here. I truly enjoy being here. I love this family. The Palm Springs District is an extended family. Thank you to my team. You guys are all amazing and you rock. And my girls for dealing with me having to work overtime and never giving me a hard time about it. So I love you.
Thank you, thank you. Next one is Autumn Sladen. Sladen from Fiscal Services.
Congratulations.
Congratulations. Thank you. Okay. You would like to share some word with your family?
Thank you, Tony. Is this working? Or am I just loud? I'm really shy, but thank thank you. I love working with everyone and helping everyone out all the time, and I love coming to work. I love all my coworkers and just helping everybody. It's fun.
Thank you. And the next one is Yuki Omar from Fiscal Services.
Fiscal Services night. Congratulations, Yuki. Thank you so
Congratulations, Yuki.
much. I'm going to give you this. Thank you.
Okay, you would like to share some words?
You got this, Yuki.
Thank you so much.
It's working. They said
It's working.
Close to you.
Thank you so much. I have a wonderful boss, Tony and Jane. I'm sorry.
You got this.
the reason I can thrive is because them, because I feel like I'm valued, and they worried out how much what I do matter, and that's big to me. And thank you for my husband and my family. I'm a workaholic, so I'm always away from home, but they take care of home, and they understand how I'm crazy about my work, and I really thank everybody.
Thank you. Okay, item 10B, the governing board wish to recognize and commend the following student for academic excellence. The first one is Nikolai Armendaris Jr. from Della Lisney.
Congratulations, I'm so proud of you. Can I give you this medal? Can I put it on your head? Okay, ready? No? You want to do it? You go ahead. Here, just put it on your arm. There you go. Here, come on over. Come on, say hi. Say hi, everybody. Say thank you. All right. You want to stay here? We could take a picture? All right.
Okay, thank you. The next student is Anthony Vargas. Congratulations, Anthony.
Anthony, may I do this? Congratulations, sir.
It is the last. The one, Anthony Vargas.
All right. We're proud
Anthony,
of you.
this is for you.
Did you get to shake everybody's hand? Did you get to go over there? You want to? You want to shake their hands? No. Okay.
Okay.
All right.
No, the one more. Next is Joseph Y. Della Lisley. Congratulations, Joseph. Congratulations, Mika.
Joseph, we're proud of you. Hold that up. Is it okay if I put this on your head? Okay. Here we go, sir. You're looking good. Come on over. You're champion. These champions are here. Oh, nice.
Next student is Luke Acejo. Two more. I got it. Put in there, maybe? Oh, it's coming. Congratulations.
Careful, Luke. Careful. Here we go, sir.
The one is for Luke.
That's
Luke
your
is for you.
certificate. We'll hold that like that. You're the champion.
Not two more. And next student is Enrique Cárdenas from Nelly Cosman Middle School. The medal.
Congratulations.
And give me one.
Here, I want to give you this, Enrique, and can I put this around your head? Whoops. It almost didn't fit. Congratulations.
Congratulations, Enrique. Congratulations. And next is Juan González Orozco, Nelly Cosman Middle School.
The teacher's here to talk. Okay. Principals want to talk with the teachers.
Mhm. Congratulations, amigo. Do you have the teacher or principal? Do you want to say some words, Robert? Okay. Hi. I can. Uh-huh. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, okay. Enrique, here one. All right, so tonight we honor two outstanding 8th graders from Nellie Kaufman Middle School. Enrique and Juan, as Dr. Seuss wrote, "You are off to great places. Today is your day. Your mountain is waiting, so get on your way." Enrique and Juan, your hard work, kindness, and growth have inspired those around you. We know you're heading into high school with courage and confidence, ready to climb every mountain in your path. Congratulations, your journey is just beginning. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right. So, hi everyone. So I have a few students up here. So I have so Joey right here. He's been making so much he's overall I've had him since kindergarten. He has made so much progress, making great choices. He's reading. He's making tons of growth in writing. So I'm super, super proud of him. Great job, Joey. And then Luke here, he's also made tons of progress this year with his writing. He's reading as well. His math has made, he's also adding and subtracting double digits. I'm so proud of him as well. And then my little Nico over here, his language has definitely blossomed. He's speaking with complete sentences, and his writing, Mom, right? We've talked about his writing. He's writing beautiful sentences, so I'm super proud of their progress. I'm so proud of them.
Good evening, everyone, and happy 2-yay. So very proud of Anthony Vargas. Give a big smile and a bobcat wave. Come on now. So proud of you, and glad that you could be here tonight and represent Bubbling Wells.
Thank you. Okay, now we move to item 11, presentation. The 11A is educational services update. Dr. Covas.
Good evening. I'm so pleased to introduce our Director of College and Career Readiness, Dr. Karen Dimmick. This evening she will be presenting on PSUSD's Portrait of a Graduate. Dr. Dimmick?
Or the arrows. Whichever you see.
All right. Testing 1, 2, 3. That's not working, is it? Good evening. Thank you, Board of Education and Cabinet, for this opportunity to present the Portrait of a Graduate. As you can see, I will be going into detail, but it is really an opportunity for me to unveil, literally and figuratively, the shared vision of student success. The purpose of the Portrait of a Graduate is to really capture our vision for all students across our district, all grade level spans, so that we can prepare them for the essential skills that are needed for college, career, and life readiness. Over the course of the past year, we have collaborated with different community leaders and district families and students, and we've asked this main question and different versions of the question, which is really, what skills do all PSUSD students need to thrive in a rapidly changing world? And the answer is simple. Develop a comprehensive portrait of a graduate that guides every student, whether they're TK all the way through 12th grade, through this journey of success. Through this process, we captured different voices through a comprehensive input gathering process where we received recommendations, suggestions, ideas through this process, guided by parents, students, principals, counselors, district leaders, community, college, and university. This is an example of an input gathering session where we paired our student leaders with industry leaders from our local valley. Many of these leaders were also graduates of Palm Springs Unified. And here you see in the picture students leading a conversation about their journey in the district and how they really mastered a particular skill. The picture to the left shows that conversation with that collaboration across our valley with community and leaders. The development timeline of the Portrait of a Graduate really started a little over a year ago with initial discussions in the spring of 2024. And then we gathered input from students, families, and educators fall and winter. Along the way, we listened to their feedback and synthesized these essential skills across different meeting structures in our district as well. And we've come to launch the official Portrait of a Graduate for Palm Springs Unified. So what I'd like to point you to is this hard copy that you have in front of you. It should be, looks like the 6x9 card that you have. And what I'd like to do is walk you through this unveiling, through a manipulative, through something in our hands that we can then uncover together. So if you could just humor me in taking the cards out of the pocket, and I'm just going to unveil it card by card. And if anybody in this room would like a copy of this, we also have copies out at the table. So first of all, looking at our white card, we've got the Portrait of a PSUSD Graduate, College, Career, and Life Ready. This represents essential skills that every student in the Palm Springs Unified School District will develop. So let's turn this white card around And that really highlights the why, the purpose, the vision. Students, families, educators, industry leaders, and community members have come together to define these essential skills that every student in PSUSD will develop. These skills are integrated into curriculum across all grade levels to ensure that every student is prepared to succeed. So let's move on to the first card that we have, which represents the first of 4 skills, collaboration. And when we turn to the back of the card, we see here, and this definition really, again, represents that synthesis piece across this year-long process. So these words have been captured from the process of all of our leaders. Students work effectively with others to achieve shared goals. They contribute their strengths, communicate openly, and create inclusive environments that foster teamwork, problem solving, and collective success. We then move on to the next card that unveils our second essential skill, which is communication, our teal card. On the back, students express ideas clearly, listen actively, and engage respectfully in diverse settings. They adapt their communication to different audiences, build relationships, and advocate for themselves and others. Moving on to our third essential skill, problem solving. Students analyze challenges, develop creative solutions, and take action. They think critically, adapt to change, and evaluate short and long-term impacts to navigate complex situations with confidence. And last but not least, we have work ethic. Students take responsibility for their success by demonstrating perseverance, accountability, and time management. They set goals, stay engaged, and commit to continuous learning and growth. And these are the essential skills that you see also on the slide: collaboration, communication, problem solving, and work ethic. Each skill is taught and reinforced across TK through 12. This is something that we already are doing, but I'm bringing this forward to you as a framework for our vision of success. I'm going to be talking about our implementation timeline, and when I talk about the timeline, we're going to touch upon the ownership and responsibility that everybody has in and out of the classroom, whether it's student supports with our counselors, our classified staff, certificated staff, with our instructional design, our school leadership, and also what we share with our community and our families. This particular slide represents the alignment piece, which is the how. How are we going to measure this when we put this into action? How are we going to quantify and understand that we're making progress in teaching our students these skills across the grade level spans? So if you look to your very left column, you see that the criteria remains the same. When students take an annual panorama survey, they are asked questions on this survey that measure growth mindset, self-management, perseverance, social awareness, and self-efficacy. In working with our Director of Student Services, Lisa Todd, if you look to the far right with the colorful boxes, we have aligned and mapped those 4 essential skills of the portrait of a graduate to what's being asked and measured of all of our students. The panorama survey is it starts as young as 3rd grade, and every year our students take this survey. So moving forward in that how piece and the metrics, we are going to really measure and bring meaning to what our students are learning socio-emotionally and also behaviorally to help them launch forward in academic success. Also, this slide just shows you some ready-made resources that are already available that our counselors use, such as Second Step. And if you look at the very bottom there, problem solving is indeed a lesson that is taught by our counselors as well as our teachers from the elementary side. And we have also sample resources on the middle school level as well, showing that, again, this is important and that we teach these skills all along the way, and that journey begins as young as TK. And for opportunity and success for every student, we want our students to graduate ready for life. Life, college, career, or a blend of college and career. We want this shared commitment to be communicated across our district and community. So here we have a very short, I'm just going to play a very short video clip from one of our elementary school counselors, Mr. Sadal from Rio Vista, that really highlights the importance of the 4 skills.
Hi, I'm Gavin Sadal, the counselor at Rio Vista, and we're going to talk about Portrait of a Graduate. The different skills that Portrait of a Graduate focus on is successful for all kids, but especially for elementary because it sets a foundation. The words collaboration, communication, problem solving, and having a good work ethic will benefit all elementary school age kids. Collaborating, working with others, communicating effectively, using those skills to problem solve creatively, and having a strong work ethic, taking responsibility for your actions will help kids foster their growth academically, but also emotionally.
From elementary to high school, students grow these skills every day. When they master collaboration,
All right, so if I had more time, I'd show you the rest, but that's good. So really that highlights that piece that, again, we're developing these skills for success. This is just a visual of what I've shared with everyone, and as far as branding and communication goes, that is very important. And so as we look ahead to our implementation timeline, we will be communicating this to our community and our district. Here's the implementation timeline, and it starts with this summer, continuing forward in planning and designing a video premiere, a very short clip that can be shared at our welcome back. And also we have scheduled meetings where I will be presenting to classified staff at the beginning of the year, working with our principals to communicate this, working with our counselors of all grade levels, making sure that both classified and certificated staff understand the purpose and the why, and how we all have a role in making sure that we support our graduates, our students, all throughout the district for success. We also have plans for family and community engagement, cross-department collaboration to make sure that we are engaging our families and our community, as their input is really what generated this entire Portrait of a Graduate. And lastly, those 4 skills, as you notice, the colors match in this logo that we have for the Portrait of a Graduate. Really, this logo represents a fluid path of success with the 4 different colors that are part of our branding kit, highlighting the 4 different skills in developing and really contributing to the Portrait of a Graduate and the success of our students. Thank you so much for allowing me to present.
Question?
I have a question. So I've been in seminars with the Board of Education at workshops, and how does this materialize for a student? Do they, at their senior year, have a portfolio collected more than symbolic? How does this come to be concrete?
Yes, that's a great question. Thank you. I think the materializing piece is extremely important. It needs to be more than a symbol. It needs to live beyond a poster or a postcard. And so that is why the implementation timeline is so critical to our next steps in communicating this with our entire community. The metrics behind the Panorama Survey, really, as we engage in this work, we're not creating extra things. We're already doing the work. Now it's looking and seeing how can we quantify, how can we measure to find out how we're doing and preparing our students. Really the questions that we asked, as far as hireability, what are your thoughts in making sure that our students are ready for the workforce, ready for college, and ready to be upstanding citizens in life? And I think that while symbols are important, the how behind the symbol is just as important, along with the why. So following this implementation timeline will really help us to reach these metrics, and we will actually have quantifiable data to then follow and see how we're doing as well on a yearly basis.
So as a graduate, I would have maybe a sash that says I was a portrait participant, or is this just like some type of briefcase of collectible, I guess, artifacts that portraits of graduate end up with?
I think that we're going to continue to get that feedback because there's definitely not a one-size-fits-all. And in my work with our counselors and our principals, our classified and certificated staff, we're going to be able to really pinpoint what that looks like for each school.
Thank you.
Quick question for you. I'm curious. When you guys performed your survey, how many students did you guys get to take that survey?
The which one? The panorama survey or the?
Either one. Any of the surveys that you had.
We so for the panorama survey, like one example. Sorry, let me go back to this right here. That is the elementary survey. We have 4,211 respondents for that. And I know that we really strive to get as many respondents as possible on a yearly basis. For the in-person meetings we had, we just built them within the structures that we already had in place, like our college culture tour, presentations, and our meetings with our families. They were surveyed along with our LCAP parent advisory and our students along the way.
Okay, and so was it duplicate students by any chance, or did you check to see how many duplicates there were of the students who?
I didn't check on duplicates, but that's something that I can check on.
Okay, and so with this survey that we have here and this initiative that we have, are we mindful of the equitable aspect of it? Because I know a lot of times, sometimes the student can't see themselves inside of who that is, and I would hate for our students to feel like they don't see themselves as what this portrait of a graduate is. Are you guys being mindful of how students feel who don't reach those criteria or those different things that you guys have in place?
100%. We definitely want our students to feel valued, and really that piece of integration in teaching them that there isn't one path to success, that there are multiple ways to reach that. And really the input that we got from community and industry highlight that those skills, sometimes you call them as soft skills, in this case I'm referencing them as essential skills. Mm-hmm. Those skills are things that they're already doing and can build and strengthen to lead to their path of success. So some of them may not want to go to college right away after high school, and that's okay. They may want to enter the workforce. So really, I think this entire process is built on the foundation that we will show our students that they are valued, but we'll also help them along the way to strengthen those skill sets so that they can be successful in whatever path they choose.
And so our teachers and our principals are on board with this?
Principals are on board. We've shared this with principals in the April meeting. And really with anything, you want to circle back and provide that why, but also provide the resources. So one of the goals that I have is in the timeline piece, if you can see, it's the work alongside the principals, but it's also the work with our classified staff leaders and different certificated staff to ensure that we are harnessing everyone's strength and embracing the equity, diversity in all of our students and their success.
And so I'm going to imagine that our staff and principals are excited about this?
Principals are very excited. I've heard positive feedback. I've, certain materials that we've used to take notes, I've seen in the hallways and in principals' offices. So it definitely exists, and they are enthusiastic, and I'm really excited to go deeper in this work, not as a one-person project, but continuing that collaborative momentum that we have across the district.
All right.
Dr. Demick, I was just wondering, will academics be woven into this at any point?
Yes, and that really is part of that integration piece. When you walk into a classroom, you're looking for engagement. You're looking for collaboration. Are our students applying their problem-solving skills? Are they applying their critical thinking? And are they given opportunities to communicate their ideas? That is how we're going to integrate these skills into what we're already teaching. So while counselors can push in and out to provide lessons on SEL, we're also looking at that visible learning piece where you're in a classroom and you're seeing the applicability of all of these skills, and that is what would lead to their academic success. Okay.
No question. Great presentation. Thank you, Demi.
Thank you.
And next item is item 11B, Local Control Accountability Plan, LCAP presentation.
It's that time of year. So we have our Director of State and Federal Programs, Dr. Jim Pfeffer, here to present the 2025-26 annual update of the 3-year LCAP for Palm Springs Unified and Cielo Vista. Take it away, Dr. Pfeffer.
Well, thank you very much, and good evening, Board of Education. Wonderful to see you again. It is, in fact, that time of year to start presenting to you the Local Control Accountability Plan for 25-26. As you know, this is a long, ongoing process. Really takes us most of the year to put together, collecting feedbacks even at the beginning part of the year, all the way through now when we get to present the plan to you for next year. Given what we have on tap for today's agenda, I am going to be moving fairly quickly through the presentation, but I'm more than willing to pause at any point in time to answer any questions that the board may have as we go through the plan as a whole. My goal for this presentation is to give you an overview summary of the plan, give you the idea of the format and some of the content that's in there. However, the full plan is posted to the agenda for reference at any time. It's 230 some odd pages of very interesting reading. I'm pretty sure we'll hit the New York Times bestseller list this year, at least that's our hope. But it is there and available for everybody at this point in time. So we'll go ahead and get started there. This is year 2 of the current 3-year template for the LCAP. Every year this plan gets updated with new information using educational partner input, data from the dashboard, local data components in order to make sure that we're driving programs and systems that improve outcomes for our students. Then every year before June 30th, we look to get approval from the Board of Education for the plan for the following year. At that point, it goes into effect for the year and gets reviewed by the county for their approval as well. Now, the plan in this year, just like in most others, is based around data and performance. And when I gave this presentation last year, Mr. Girardi made it very clear he wanted to see some outcomes this time around. And so I'm happy to say, based on our dashboard results, I have some provable pieces for you showing some progress in the district. We do have 2 student groups that were identified for differentiated assistance that are addressed within the plan. Those are our foster youth group and our American Indian group. However, we had 3 groups that exited that status coming out of the prior year. Our English learners, our students with disabilities, and our African American students are no longer designated into differentiated assistance. Positive growth from all 3 groups. That's not to say that high performance is there for every single student in every single group. There is still work to do, but rewarded for progress being made. In addition, at the school level, the impact of our district plan as well as their school SIPSAs has allowed all 5 comprehensive support and improvement schools to exit that status on the 2024 dashboard, 2 of which drop into the TSI status for targeted support and improvement. The other 3 exit statuses entirely. And we also reduced from 15 schools in the ATSI status down to 6. So a lot of very positive movement coming out of the most recent dashboard release. We continue to show signs of improvement in local data. Of course, this data next updates on the 2025 dashboard due out sometime in approximately November of this year. So we'll continue to be monitoring that progress as we start to implement the new plan. look at our data as it's coming to the year end now, look at our data as it's officially released by the state in the fall, and continue to adjust as we move forward. But definitely some good progress that we can acknowledge along the way. At this point, I'll start diving into the weeds of the plan. The template did not change too much from last year to this year. Last year, I presented to you a separate annual update section. That's now embedded in the plan. So there's 6 main sections as represented on this particular slide. Each one has some different aspects to it. We're going to take some time to go through each of those sections at this time and give you a brief summary as to what's included in each portion. So we start with our plan summary section. These are components within the plan that talk about kind of general information of the district and reflections. Now, if you read this year's plan, you'll notice there's a lot of 2023 data that is still in this section. That's required to stay through all 3 years of this cycle. So you'll see the 2023 data, which acts as the starting point of the plan, if you will. Then 2024 outcome data from the dashboard shown to kind of show progress. We'll do the same with the 25 data next year. Also within these sections, you'll see some information around the Learning Recovery Emergency Block Grant usage, which was a requirement to add to the plan this year. And for the first time for our district in a number of years, we were able to do a lot of non-applicables in our comprehensive support and improvement prompts because, again, all 5 schools that previously qualified have exited that status. So we were able to acknowledge some of the growth that those school sites made. As we know, every year, our partnership and our educational partner work is a main part of this process. We were once again acknowledged positively during our county FastPass process regarding our gathering of information for the plan, as well as during our federal program monitoring review with the CDE in the fall. They acknowledged very positively about our input processes. So we continue to move forward. This year, I'm pleased to say we had 23 separate input sessions with parents and staff around different aspects of the plan. 3 additional sessions were done specifically around equity multiplier funds, another session specifically around the Learning Recovery Grant piece. So a large number of different meetings. You see a list of those on this particular slide. In addition, I know Mr. Irvin has mentioned the surveys from the previous presentation. As Dr. Dimmick mentioned, we had a little over 4,200 student surveys that were completed in the elementary setting. We had a little over 10,100 in the secondary setting, as all secondary grades take it, for a total of about 14,300 student surveys in addition to their in-person meetings. Similarly, about 2,700 parent surveys were completed on top of our meeting structures, as well as about 2,200 staff surveys completed regarding LCAP input. So a wide variety of different pieces taken in, whether it was via survey or different in-person meeting opportunities throughout the year. We combine all of those items as we've done in the past, pulling what our needs are, collecting different themes, and we once again present them in a format of our plan goals. I'm pleased to say that our plan goal structure continues to be pretty uniform and consistent across the board. Goal 1 focused on academic improvement, looking to make sure students have that choice of college and career of their choosing at the end of high school. Goal 2 is our parent and community engagement goal, focused on having that partnership across the community with all of our educational partners. And finally, Goal 3 focused on providing healthy and safe school environments to make sure that we're covering those things like mental health, counseling, behavior supports, etc. So within our plan, we have those 3 main district-wide goals, after which we have goals that are specifically around equity multiplier funds. Just as a reminder, these were funds that were newly established in the 23-24 state budget, went into effect for the first time this year. We had 2 schools that were eligible in 24-25. Mount San Jacinto High School and Desert Learning Academy continued to qualify, so they will receive additional funds next year. Goal 4 and Goal 5 are specific to those 2 school sites. And newly qualified this year is Julius Corsini Elementary, so they will be receiving some of these funds, and the plan now features Goal 6 directed to their needs. On this particular slide, you'll notice some of the indicators that the teams were asked to look at as part of their input gathering for these funds and to address in their school plan. So where we see funds being used in the equity multiplier funds supplements efforts that are going on in their school plans, which will be brought to you for approval at our next meeting. Before I dive into the weeds on our different goals, I want to pause for a moment to see if the board has any initial questions. And we'll take our walk through each goal as we've done in the past.
Just a clarification, Jim.
Yes.
Where it says non-stable student, is that on their personal level?
No, it's not on a personal level. Yeah, it's an unfortunate choice of term that the state uses. So the non-stable student is somewhat tied to mobility. It's the percentage of students who have spent less than 235 consecutive calendar days at the same school. Basically, they would have had to arrive before the beginning of October and been there through the rest of the year. If they are moved even within the district to another local school, they're considered non-stable in both locations for that year. So wherever that percentage is above 25% plus a high number of free and reduced lunch students, they qualify for these funds.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And Dr. Pfeffer, I had a question about when the school that exited from the status.
Yes.
And what was the criteria to exit?
That's a great question. So it ties directly to the state dashboard, that color-coded achievement system. Again, the way that you increase your scores is through growth. It's through getting better year after year. So in the case of those schools, they were showing that the whole student group, the all students, if you will, improved in multiple areas. So in order to qualify, you have to have red and orange scores across multiple scores, ELA, math, chronic absenteeism, and so on. In the case of our exiting schools, most of them made improvements in academics, improvements in chronic absenteeism, improvements in suspension rate, which was able to exit them from those criteria.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Quick question for you too, Jim.
Certainly.
So when you showed the survey or the example that you had there with the African American students exiting out of there,
for differentiated assistance, yes.
Right. So is that something where is there a survey done with that, or how do they gather that data?
That's also based on the accountability dashboard for the state. It's about moving students from scoring in the red as a whole group into better scoring areas, yellows, blues, greens, what have you. So it's through improved performance across those indicators that are on the dashboard.
And so with that improvement to where it shows where they continue to do the same amount of people that they survey for that portion?
It's not survey tied. It's tied to really hard data points. The ELA test scores, the math test scores, chronic absenteeism rates, suspension rates, graduation rates, college career readiness rates, and English learner performance where appropriate.
Okay.
So it ties into those key dashboard indicators that are done through the quantifiable data points. Yeah.
One more. I'm probably stating the obvious here, but for goal 1, I imagine Dr. Dimmick's presentation on the portrait of the graduate is being put in place to support this first goal.
Correct. They're going to be blended together, and as we move forward, more of that language will marry as we go year after year and start looking at the implementation pieces.
Okay.
As we look at goal 1, these are the goal 1 actions. To give you an example, 1.9 in the center column, 1.10 both have to do with that high school graduation components, that A to G readiness, and those CTE programs. Those are good examples of things that we want students to be able to accomplish as part of being ready for college and career. We're going to see other aspects of that within the goal 1 actions, MTSS academic support to help build those skills. But the nice part about the way that the portrait of the graduate is set up is it also ties to goal 3, making sure that those soft skills, if you will, are being worked on and moved through, that emotional support piece, the readiness piece with self-regulation and self-management skills, these types of things. So we'll actually have a nice balance between multiple aspects of the plan to meet those criteria.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah. So I appreciate the segue, Mr. Girardi. I'll dive right into goal 1 then at that point. We've given you the list of the different actions along with the overarching funding sources. We've pulled a couple out to highlight within goal 1's plan this year, because with 21 different actions, there's quite a lot we could go into, but we touched a little bit about on 1.5, which is that multi-tiered systems of support. This is that academic intervention components piece. A large portion of this is currently being funded with that LREBG funds, those Learning Recovery Emergency Block Grant funds. You can see a couple examples in the center of the side there, like those primary reading intervention teachers, secondary math intervention, and so on. But it's a good example of blending of multiple resources to make sure that students are getting what they need in a timely manner. Similarly, within the plan, we have services for our English learners and our dual immersion program. Both are highlighted points. Again, both of which use a balance of supplemental and concentration LCFF funds, along with some federal funds, in order to be able to provide a variety of services specific to certain student groups. In this case, English learners in 1.6, and that blended learning model across languages in 1.8. We also have pulled out to highlight an example of one that's in there that has a widespread work. 1.17 goes across all of our elementary sites to help to support things like full-time PE teachers, our STEAM program, which continues to get very positive feedback from students and families, and make sure that students have that diverse, broad course of study experience across the elementary span. We also have a few items that don't feature our LCFF funds specifically, but they're important for us to identify efforts that are going on across the district. Our expanded learning program run by Dr. Gascoigne is a perfect example of that program. We get a large proportion of those funds coming out of those ELOP dollars, as well as federal funds in the ACES format, to be able to put on those after-school activities and those that occur during the breaks, and really provide a variety of service. So those are the items that we've pulled out to highlight in Goal 1. In Goal 2, our smallest but very, very mighty
Dr.
goal.
Pfeffer,
Yes.
I'm so sorry.
Go
Would
ahead.
you mind going back to 12?
Certainly.
And tell me the federal funding total with other state, the state is being just specifically after school, 21
Correct.
million?
The other state fund is specifically the Expanded Learning Opportunities Program, ELOP funds. They can only be used for after-school programming through those programs. So we identify that because one of the things we hear loud and clear in our educational partner feedback is they want those expanded opportunities, they want the tutoring opportunities, they want the ability to have support when school is off session, both after school and during breaks. And so this is a way we can highlight that, even though it doesn't use LCFF dollars necessarily because it's well funded. It enables us to show that we're providing those services to those partners.
So our high school tutors are being paid for out of that fund, yes?
We have high school tutors that are paid for out of multiple funds. It would depend on which pieces that we're talking about.
Especially like math, and I don't know, some at the last minute students need credits, so they get tutoring and can recover
Sure.
some of those credits to be able to graduate.
Yeah, we have a few different resources for that. One that's not listed in our plan is our A through G improvement grant that continues to have one more year of funding. We do some additional tutoring components out of that. Also back in that MTSS action, there is the secondary mathematics intervention teachers that help to support that. We also have some different tutoring functions that come in and out of 1.9, which is that high school graduation and A through G readiness piece. So those kind of efforts are funded in a couple of different spaces. Yeah.
So curious, will these funds here continue? Or are these funds every year, or are these projected? This 25 million, is that for 1 year, or is that projected every year?
Great question. The numbers that you're seeing here is budget for this coming school year, 25-26. In the case of those funds specific in 1.19, expanded learning is an annual allocation that's based on your student population. Our allocation has been approximately that much the last couple of years, moved it up and down a little bit based on enrollment. The federal funds is from the ACES grant, the after-school grant that we've received for many, many years now. Again, that fluctuates a little bit by student count, but that's also an annual allocation as long as we continue to apply for it on its, I believe it's a 3-year cycle as memory serves. So as long as we continue to apply and receive that, those funds come in annually. But the state funds are part of the state budget process every year at this point.
And so it varies?
It varies just due to enrollment, yeah.
Okay, so, but basically for the last couple of years, you've seen it's kind of stayed around this amount?
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah, pretty consistently.
All right.
And it's a fairly new piece. Those funds have only been around about 2-3 years now.
If I could just follow up on that a little bit.
Certainly.
I see federal funds used quite often, and I don't know if you answer this or Jeff. How confident are we in receiving federal funds going into the future?
Well, that's an interesting question. I could state it. I'll state it from one perspective, and then I'll defer to Mr. Simmons. I'll state at this time on this date that we have a certain set of rules. However, it's very clearly an evolving situation. Right. We're waiting to see how those reactions come. Currently, from what I've heard through our conversations with the county office, their conversations with legislative officials, and some conversation with CDE federal reviewers, it looks like currently, again, today at this time, that Title I's in a pretty good space, which is one of our biggest buckets. There may be some variability when we start talking about Title III and Title II, but we have to wait to see how some of that plays out in the federal budgeting process. Mr. Simmons, I don't know if you want to add anything.
That's correct. It seems like you said, at this particular moment in time, Title I is pretty safe. So is IDEA, special ed funds. As for the rest of it, Title II, professional development and recruitment, and Title III, ELD support, those are very much in question. And I haven't really heard about some of the after-school programs, but just about every grant that's out there is in question and being analyzed by the federal government in their cuts.
Yeah, these particular after-school funds are tied to Title I, so they're probably good to go, but we'll have to wait and see how it plays out over the next few weeks.
One last thing.
Certainly.
The ACES and ELAP program, are they addendums with a breakdown of how the money is allocated or spent? Is there a place that details that?
We would be able to put together some of those detail pieces. Within the plan itself, it's an overarching bucket.
So it's not detailed like for ACES or any of the programs, what exactly is included?
Not within the LCAP document itself. We
All
have
right.
that reporting that comes through some of the budgetary reporting and some of those other elements that show some of those breakouts.
Mm-hmm.
And a separate plan in the case of ELAP, yeah.
Okay. And have we been given that to it?
Yeah, that's been renewed a couple of times now since its inception by the board.
Okay.
Yep.
Dr. Pfeffer, is the ELAP funds right now, they're TK through 8th grade?
They are TK through 6
Through
with
6?
extension ability to 8th grade if all needs TK to 6 are currently being met by the programs. So it's essentially, in our context, TK to 8, we get enough funds where we're able to cover TK to 6 without a problem. We're able to incorporate 7th and 8th grade in those plans.
Is there anything in the future that it might be extended to high school students?
Potentially. I have not heard recently anything in the legislators reporting about that particular extension right now. But there has been some conversation around that, and I know that Dr. Gascoigne and I have had some conversation of checking with the CDE reviewers about potential options there.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
If I can chime in just for a second, there is some talk in regards to attendance recovery that if you use, if you're going to use ELAP money for attendance recovery at the high school level, then you have to offer it at the offer ELAP at the high school level as well. Is that correct, Amber? So it just depends on how much money is going toward this. Like he said, whether or not we're fulfilling the needs of K through 6 and then K through 8 and see where we're at for high school in the future.
All right. Goal 2, again, focusing on parent and community engagement. This funds our family center and our FACES group that goes out and does quite a lot of work supporting families and making sure their needs. We also support district-wide communication efforts as well as our diversity and racial equity initiatives. Those have been pretty steady the last couple of years. Not a lot of changes in this particular area. In Goal 3, our safe and healthy learning environments. Again, we have a total of 14 different actions spread across these particular areas. Again, we've pulled out a couple to highlight specifically out of these, one of which is the other half of our MTSS model. So in Goal 1, we talked about the academic intervention. This acts as the behavior and social emotional learning component. So you put the two together, you have that well-rounded support system that's set up. Again, notice a blending of funds here that are able to be supported, including our MTSS coaches supported out of that learning recovery grant. Another couple items that we've pulled out is our school social workers. This is another good example of where we are funding some resources out of that learning recovery piece. These individuals are doing a fantastic job of providing a variety of wraparound services. I know that Ms. Musil has shared that with you a number of times. But they're really been a great support since their implementation a few years back. So again, a variety of actions there. Now our differentiated assistance group gets some specific call outs. Again, this coming year, that'll be our foster youth students and our American Indian students that qualified. But we show within the plan in some of these particular actions that there are nuances to that are specifically targeting those improvements. We saw the impact of this particular model with 3 student groups exiting that status in this past dashboard release. So we're happy to say that those efforts seem to be working to help improve outcomes. We're looking to do similar items with our currently 2 existing groups. Before I move on to the equity multiplier actions, any last minute questions on those overarching district goals?
Quick question for you.
Certainly.
Can you go back to the slide where you have the family engagement and the spending for that
Certainly.
section? How long have we had that amount of funding for our family engagement center?
It always varies year to year depending on the budgetary pieces. This year, the overall LCAP has some budget reductions, which were shared across all actions from the prior year. So the 25-26 plan has less dollars in it than the 24-25 plan. These amounts that have been put in here have grown a little bit over time as those teams have expanded, services have expanded. As an example, we didn't used to have a separate communication action. That was implemented for 24-25, continues on into 25-26. Similarly, the school site parent support staff, which is where our FACE specialists are involved, that team has grown over the years, and so that further has expanded as well.
Well, I guess I'm just kind of asking, I've been kind of excited with a lot of the things that the Family Engagement Center has done with such small budget. And so I would like to advocate and see what we can do to get them more money. They've been doing wonderful events and doing wonderful things with our family. And I think it's time for us to look at maybe getting them a little bit more money. I think that we've been stuck at that same price. And I know that we're going into a situation, Jeff, but I think that if we can look at trying to get them a little bit more money, I think they do a wonderful job there. And not to say that any other department don't do anything, but I'm just saying that I've seen a lot of work and a lot of things that they put in that Family Engagement Center.
I am pleased to say the Family Engagement Center's a fantastic group of folks. They've done a lot of work. I'll make sure to share those positive comments with them. Yes, we can look at adding the budget. This would be the starting point budget for the year. There's always flex that happens in this. And within the LCAP, we always say where that movement has happened. So when I get to the action tables at the end of the presentation, if you look at those within the plan, you can actually see where budgets have moved and things have increased or decreased based on changes during the year. So when we think about these particular actions, they act as starting points. We can certainly look at increasing or moving funds around as they are needed during the year as those support pieces coming in. But we do definitely want to make sure that those services continue to be offered through the Family Center. All right. I'm going to toggle ahead here. Goals 4, 5, and 6, as I've identified previously, are for our equity multiplier schools. I've just given you a basic list of some of the actions that they have down at the bottom of each tab there. You can see that they are taking approaches of building systems within their schools. There's a consistent piece across those MTSS intervention structures, adding some more layers to help support the academics. Corsini's add-on this year really is focusing on continuing professional learning that they started with their CSI status that they exited. This gaining of equity multiplier funds allows them to continue some of those actions in the same way that they had when they had those resources a year ago. So for them, it acted as a very nice transition point to be able to continue to work on their professional learning communities with some additional professional development and some of their outreach items. So we're excited to continue to work with these 3 schools on their use of those funds. And again, they've been set up as multi-year actions so that they can continue to sustain those over time, and we're not in a situation where we do something for a year and then have to cancel it immediately. The next section is a detailed section within the plan called Increase and Improve Services, which lays out some of the differentials. I've only pulled one of these items out, but you can see a wide variety of different items that have to do with increasing and improving services for our English learners, our low-income students, and our foster youth. In each section, they talk about the needs. We talk about how those actions are supporting and the way that those are monitored. Because our actions are multifaceted, we have a lot of different metrics that we look at to determine effectiveness along the way. 3.6 having to do a lot with social emotional support and behavioral support, clearly has things tied with disciplinary action items such as expulsion rates and suspension rates, also helps to build attendance, and then we look at those panorama survey results. Towards the back of the plan, as I've just mentioned, we have those action tables that show how the budget changed between the start of the year and the end of the year in the 24-25 table, so you're able to see by action how that happened. And then the 25-26 tables show what the budget would be to start the year based on the plan document itself. So to give you a brief summary, we boomerang back to a version of the budget overview for parents here that's a brief summary, where you can see that in supplemental and concentration, there was approximately $92,600,000 in supplemental and concentration grants within the plan. We add some additional LCAP dollars to our plan, so our total LCAP funding within the plan is close to $94 million. You start adding in ELOP and our federal funds and some of those other aspects, our total plan is reflecting approximately $139 million worth of services intended to improve outcomes for students. So pretty wide scope, as you can tell. Cielo Vista has a very similar plan. They have a similar structure. We have Ms. Paris-Chica back there in the back to be able to help answer any specific questions about Cielo Vista. To give you a brief overview of their plan, they have some actions within Goal 1 that are really tied to that MTSS and professional development elements, very similar to the district. Goal 2, really focusing more on those other academic subjects like world language and arts, their technology supports. You can see their funding items there as well. Goals 3 and Goal 4 for Cielo Vista, a little bit different. Goal 3 has to do with some of the intramurals, some of the engagement pieces with the mental health components, and then they use Goal 4 as their parent engagement goal. And again, you can see their budgeting for the start of the year at that point. Their general overview looks like this. They have approximately $4 million in supplemental and concentration funds. When you add in their federal funds, it goes up to about $4.7, $4.8 million total within their plan document. So that's what I have to share with you as the overview. Again, the full plan in all of its glory is currently posted onto the agenda for your viewing pleasure. We will have an upcoming item, just a couple of items down the road that'll be doing our public hearings. You'll be approving later in this agenda the federal addendum that goes on. Then we'll bring back the plan to the next meeting for the local indicator presentation and for approval of the LCAP that we'll start the year with. Are there any questions before I hand the mic over to Mr. Simmons for the budget presentation?
I just want to say, obviously, there's work to be done, but good progress has been made, no question. And just a quick question, I guess. So next year, we're going to see progress over 3 years?
So within the plan right now, it'll show year one baseline
23
to 1 year, right? So it'll go 23 to the 24 release, and then local data that kind of straddles the 24-25 year as well. Next year, you'll see the 25 dashboard release, so you'll be able to see 23, 24, and 25 in columns across the page.
That's okay.
So it'll start to stack on itself, so you can kind of track each one and see what the change has been over time.
Great. Yeah, thank you for your presentation, Jim.
Certainly.
And so with that, that's the trend that we're going to see. It's just going to be a 3-year plan that we'll be able to see them stacked next to each other, or will that continue for multiple years? Or just for the 3 years?
Correct. The LCAP cycles are 3-year cycles. So you will each time around see 3 years in total as an LCAP lapses. Then a new template rolls in with any new requirements, starts that new 3-year cycle. We're always able to show you a wider scope than that, but the plan design itself is over a 3-year period.
All right, thank you. Good job, Jim.
Welcome, thank you.
Yeah, with
Year 3 of this plan will go through the 26-27 years. So you'll have your 1 year, 2 year, 3 data come in after that.
Thank you, Dr. Pfeffer, and thank you for your presentation that you do to the LAC, to APAC. All the time you are available, you respond to all questions. Thank you for your good presentation that you do.
Thank you. That's a part of the process we take great joy in, is interacting with all of our families. So thank you for that.
You.
We appreciate it.
And now thank you.
One more question for you, Jim, before you get all the way off the stage. Jim.
Yeah.
Quick question for you. Are the FACEs, are they considered as the family engagement income, or are they separate? Because I've seen it, I think, on the slide that they were separate.
The general family center budget is 2.1. So that's just the operational part of the budget and the coordinator and the office staff for the family center. 2.2, that specific outreach to schools and that school-based item, the faces are in that particular item. So so the family center staff is split between 2.1 and 2.2 because our faces do that direct outreach at the school sites.
Thank you. And next item is item 11C, 2025-2026 adopted budget presentation by Jeff Simmons.
Good evening, school board. Good evening, everyone. Now it's time for the fun stuff, the budget presentation, right? I get to be the third person in a line of three here, so that's fantastic. First, I'd like to thank Tony Carrillo, our Director of Fiscal Services, for putting together this budget book. I'm sure you've seen it as part of your packet, and we've got some new areas in there this year where we've really kind of laid out quite a bit of things. But really, this presentation is kind of a summary of what's detailed in this particular book here. So I'd also like to thank all of his fiscal department, payroll, purchasing, and really just every department, because everybody has had some sort of input or hand into putting this budget together and making sure that it's on time. I'd also like to thank a particular group of teachers and students. Miss Connie Mitchell from Nellie Kaufman Middle School. She and I got a chance to talk at the CTE event here across the street. I was listening to her digital media students' presentation and stuff, and I thought, you know what? Maybe we can get together and their students can create our budget book cover here for us. So got together with Miss Mitchell there. By the next day, she had these students here, Jaden L., Gabriel G., Mateo P., designed 3 different covers for me, and we picked this one out for this particular year. So it was a fantastic job. I got a chance to visit their class and give them some Amazon gift cards for their work, and really appreciated that, and I wanted to recognize them here this evening. So they did a fantastic job on this, and I'm sure you've seen that it's quite a bit different than what we've presented to you in the past there. So. All right, let's take a look at the overview of the economy. These first few slides are for you, Mr. Irvin, per your request. I see that you're, already there. If you look at this first slide, it's kind of, things seem rather depressing almost from the state's May revised perspective. I mean, lower tax revenue, slow job growth, higher inflation, potential recession, slow growth through 2028, higher tariff rates. But really the overall theme of the governor's budget and the May revise is to basically be cautious. There is potentially slow growth, and there may be some necessary cuts for sustainability and stabilization. Luckily, we have a very strong fund balance that's kind of getting us through this multi-year projection, and we also have a stabilization plan in place that we are working through. So, as far as some of these slides here, nationally and within the state, as you can see, the U.S. gross domestic product, as well as the consumer sentiment. Consumer sentiment assesses how consumers as a collective whole are feeling about the economy at a certain period in time, as well as their outlook for the future. So as you can see, based on that red arrow where we were last year, the GDP at 3.0 and the consumer confidence, closer to 65 there. You can see both of those. The orange line is the consumer confidence is down to 50.8, and then the GDP down to negative 0.3 at this particular, when this slide came out. So there are some concerns out there. As far as unemployment rate, those haven't changed much. The red arrow indicates where we were this past year. In California, it was basically 5.3%. It's gone up a little bit nationwide, to 4.2% at this particular point from where it was last year. This next one kind of shows Wall Street in this first 5 months or so. You can see it's quite chaotic. A lot of ebbs and flows there, particularly with the S&P 500. So there's been a lot of things going on, for lack of anything more analytical. But what I can tell you is if you flip back and forth between the next slide and this slide, you can see that this was presented last year based on the last 6 years or so of how the stock market's gone. It's continued to grow. Oops, sorry. Going back to that, it's even grown into 2025 slowly, but it's grown, but it has, you can see those ebbs and flows and dips, and I'll let you kind of swing back and forth. That's why I put both slides in here to be able to look at it later on. As far as Prop 98 and working through the education budget here in California, like the rest of the state budget, the conditions for Prop 98 in education have deteriorated. That's a very strong word from the governor since the governor's budget. So what's happened is $4.6 million down. That's ongoing money down over the 3-year window of the budget. And then $2.9 million are kind of making up for that in one time. And we'll talk about that here in a little bit. And then we're kind of depleting the rest of the rainy day fund, the extra $540 million that we have in there right now. However, the governor has made it his priority to really protect the education budget as much as possible. I know this seems kind of bad, but as we look through things, it's okay for, as we look forward. This is a kind of a graph of the rainy day fund. You can see that it was depleted in 23-24, 24-25, increased a little bit, but now being depleted as a projection for 25-26. So as I stated, the governor's budget raised some eyebrows about his commitment to protect education. He's really looking to protect that. When the 2.3% COLA came out, he has agreed to fund that as long as the legislature agrees to it. Remember, all this is still part of negotiation. This is just his projections as to what's going on. He still has to negotiate with the legislature, and then they come out with their June budget in the very end. So the new investments here, there's going to be even more investments into expanded learning and universal TK. We're going to go over that here in a slide a little bit later, as well as substantial one-time block grants. And then as I talked about, the economy and the stock market are experiencing these ebbs and flows, so it's really kind of an unsure situation at this particular point. So we talked a little bit about the federal government and Dr. Pfeffer's plan there, and we did discuss this already. The plan for federal money is to maintain Title I. That is the largest bulk of our federal income, as well as special education funding. We do get Title III funding. Title III is budgeted at $675,000. That includes, as far as people are concerned, 1 TOSA and some extra duty and programs. Title II is mainly for professional development, and that's not listed here, but that's another one that's been mentioned as potentially cutting. Title II is mainly, sorry, I was required to slow down because of the translation here. Apologize. I'll try to slow down. Title II is mainly used for recruitment and professional development, and that's budgeted at $768,000. What we have under there currently mainly is 2 teachers on special assignment, along with some programmatic and recruitment items. So I'm kind of trying to get through these first few slides here because this isn't even actually our budget yet. So it's more talking about the state level and so forth. So state special education funding at AB 602 is the base rate. We get an additional, besides what we get through LCFF per student, we get this additional $917.52 for special education, and then for mental health, $84.52 per student per ADA, and a small amount in low incidence funding, but it's not even nearly enough. What we have to contribute, so from the AB 602, we get about $17.6 million. From the mental health, we get about $2.4 million per year, but then we have to contribute from our base LCFF about $34 million a year to be able to cover the entire special ed program. So you can see that it is a huge expense for our budget. Okay, so we talked a little bit about this discretionary block grant earlier with that $2.9 million in one time. This is a portion of that. He's proposing $1.7 billion for this particular block grant, and we're hoping that it remains mostly discretionary, because the recommendation here for us, it's worth about $5.4 million. And I'll show you a little bit later that we're actually deficit spending all 3 years and borrowing from Fund 17 to make do until we figure out more stabilization. and more potential cuts. So this is additional revenue for us to potentially use to kind of delay those cuts if we need to. And the recommendation would be to actually use that as discretionary, more so than professional development. As Dr. Pfeffer would attain, we do have a lot of money for professional development already out there. So it'd be best to use this as discretionary mainly. And then there's also this coming up in 25-26 is the full implementation year of universal TK. So it now includes all 4-year-olds whose 4th birthday occurs by September 1st, which may mean that we may have some 3-year-olds that are in there for the month of August, depending on where their birthday falls in that particular situation. But there's a proposal based on this full year of implementation. We have to go from a 12-to-1 adult to student ratio to a 10-to-1 adult to student ratio now. So that's obviously going to cost more money. To get to this ratio, we would have to hire more aides. That's already actually in the budget. So this would be additional money for if more students are enrolled in TK than we anticipated, or where we may need to put more. But it's worth about 1.1 million to us. So again, this is some additional revenue that's not budgeted right now. That 2,397 portion of it anyway, and that's because they're still sort of determining this. They're still kind of fighting over it at the state level. So we've kind of left it out for now. The $3,148 is already built in. But we do have to go down to 10-to-1 this next year, which we'll be using aides for. Now, the unique portion of that is the maximum class size is 24-to-1, or is 24. So the teacher can have 24 students, but the pupil or the adult to pupil ratio has to be 10-to-1, or student to adult ratio has to be 10-to-1. So the math doesn't really work out there very well for us. So. All right, as far as what's happening with expanded learning opportunity, that's really not much of a change for us. They are going to be including more districts into this as they lower the threshold for the UPP down to 55%, but they've added an additional $500 million for this. Now, what's going on at the state level right now is the legislature just came out with kind of their thought process in this regards. They're wanting to wait until January to implement that second piece of it down to 55%. But like I said, we're already above 75%. It doesn't really affect us much. As more districts get put into this, and if they don't increase the budget each year, obviously our piece of the pie may get a little bit smaller each year. But as you saw earlier in Dr. Pfeffer's presentation, there's a lot of money there for us to still be able to sustain a very strong ELOP program. As far as nutrition investment, the state's still investing in everybody being able to have full meals for breakfast and lunch, and even supper. We also have some extended grants here for kitchen infrastructure that we do take part in, and I've gotten quite a bit of money for that as well. The new thing this year is we do have to offer the independent study students, if they're going to be on campus for more than 2 hours, we have to offer them a meal as well. But we already do that. The only one that would be like that is DLA. And we offer them a meal through Palm Springs High School. But we're also going to be putting vending machines similar to what we have at EWEC in order to get them their meal. They just have to put in their code, their student code, and select their meal, and they'd be able to get the meal that they need for that. So a couple different ways we're going to make sure that they get their nutrition. This is just some of the other grants that are being thought about. The left 3 are those for the LEAs. They're mainly about literacy instruction. And then I think you already heard a presentation on reading difficulty screener training. So that's part of that money as well. That was either last budget or last meeting or meeting before. So, all right, let's talk about our budget assumptions. We've talked a lot about this, our enrollment declining, and our actual ADA and how that relates to funded ADA. For the last several years, we've been operating on the prior 3-year averages for funded ADA. So we've been funded more than than the students that we actually have. As you can see in 23-24, we were paid for about 1,400 students more. This year, about 795 students more than what we actually had as far as an ADA was concerned. And then in 25-26 and 26-27 is projected to be around that 300 mark. And then we begin to get into 27, 28. Our projections kind of show that funded ADA and ADE are kind of coming together at that particular point. And we're anticipating that hopefully by 28, 29, that we'll actually get to the point where we won't be under that 3-year average anymore. It'll be current year, and then we'll begin to increase and from there. So that's kind of our situation where we're anticipating our enrollment to kind of level off at that particular point as well, because we do have some new housing coming in, some new apartments coming in, so we can anticipate, that the enrollment decline is slowing down, but it still exists quite a bit. So, and then some other assumptions here that are just kind of required to show you for the budget. We already talked about the ADA and funded ADA. The ADA percentage we kind of increase each year as an anticipation, because we put some serious programs into place and some incentives for the principals to make sure that this percentage continues to go up. This is how we get paid, is off of this, off of our ADA, not our enrollment. So even if our enrollment is going down, if our ADA percentage is going up, it kind of, helps us control that declining enrollment a little bit better to a degree. And then our unduplicated account, that's the one that usually remains pretty stable the entire time. It has remained pretty stable at about 95.8 there. And as you can see, the projected COLA that's anticipated with this budget is 2.3% for 25-26, 3.02 for 26-27, and 27-28 is 3.42. When we talk about LCFF, there's some interesting points here. I mean, this next year we're going to get $299 million. That's our estimate of what we're going to get. You can see how the property taxes, state aid, and EPA. You can see that the property taxes, even though it's almost $90 million, is not even close to what go to that $299. So, and even when we include the EPA, which is that extra 1% sales tax, it still doesn't even come close. So we rely a lot on the state, that $172 million. So after it comes out of the calculator, you see that about 45% of it is in supplemental concentration, and then you got the base at about $202 million, and then a few add-ons there that come out in the end. Now, a couple things to point out here: the 25-26 projected amount is actually almost 4.5 million in the red bullet down there at the bottom, less than what we were making in 24-25. Now, for this year, for 24-25, we're expected to end with almost 12.5 million less than what we were in 23-24. So that's 2 years of really declining revenue, going down. So that's why we had to really put in the stabilization plan and work very hard for that, because when you have declining revenue, declining enrollment as a result of that, or declining enrollment as a result of your declining revenue, this will be the last year of that. And as the projection come 26-27, we anticipate to begin going back up and gaining some positive revenue out of the LCFF. But this has been a tough 2 years, with 24 this year, ending this year being the toughest one. And we're actually going to end a lot better than what we anticipated in the beginning of the year. So we're actually, I know these numbers don't sound very good, but we're actually doing pretty well, all things considering.
Jeff, I'm just curious, why do we think property taxes are going to go down?
Why do we think the property taxes are going to go down? Oh, I'm sorry, that's not down. The 2.6 million is what we owe to the charter school.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
That's a great question. All right, this kind of just shows you our combined revenue, the unrestricted and unrestricted, how much we rely on that LCFF, and then the other state. You can see that our federal revenue is actually the smallest of all four of these different types of revenues. And the largest of those are the ones that we're keeping, the Title I and the special ed. So even there, we're doing, pretty well with that. So a couple different ways that we can handle the, budget deficits: increasing our revenue, of course, or decreasing our expenditures. Each 1% that we get in ADA would increase our revenue. It's worth about $3.2 million. So that's why we give heavy incentives to the principals. It's, pennies on the dollar compared to that 1% increase. Also, we have some new homes coming in. So we're looking at, some new apartments and new homes coming in over the next couple of years. We'll see if that kind of stabilizes our declining enrollment there. And then Laura's team has been doing a great job applying for more grants and then doing the billing for those grants to make sure that our mental health services are able to stay in place because, as you saw earlier, the mental health budget is very, very small. And when you compare that to the amount of mental health services that we have, they're definitely out of proportion, and this is why. She's done a great job with that. So the stabilization plan, so far over the past couple of years, we've managed to reduce the budget by $10.6 million, and 25-26 is an estimated another 7.1. Really, we need to get to that $30 million mark, and then in anticipation of negotiations for this year, that was worth about $8 million, so potentially, unless we get that increased revenue or whatever, potentially this might go up to $38 million. But as you can see, so far we've only identified about $27 million. So there's still some work to be done here. We've done a couple scenarios, though, where we've put in that one-time amount and the UTK amount that I talked about earlier, and also had at least $4 million more in reductions each year, and that really puts us in a really good spot. So we're not that far off, but there's still some work to be done there. In regards to this, I showed you this slide last year, and you can see that our projected fund balance, like I said, we have a very strong fund balance. Fund balance is the reserves, which is 3%, our committed money, which the board has committed for future needs, assignments, and then our Fund 17 general fund. That $29 million is really going to help us over the next few years until we stabilize even more. So as you can see, as you go through, that Fund 17 becomes lower and lower and lower down to $3.2 million. That's actually better than last year's budget. And all of these are better than last year's budget by about 2.3%. So that if you look at the 26-27, last year it was at, and we were already at 10% right there. It's up to 14.6. So we're moving in the right direction with the cuts that we've already made. And we're maintaining a little bit more of our fund balance than we anticipate even last year. So we continue to grow. That 17.1% for 25-26 was actually 16.1 last year, and the 19% for 24-25 was actually 17.6. So between the 3 years, we've actually are doing better than what we anticipated from this past year when we were doing projections. Some of the considerations here that are in the budget. The transportation contract increased. I'm sure that you've heard a lot about Zoom. I think you believe the same as I do. It's worth it. I mean, the customer service that Zoom is providing even already has been great, and they're going to be in full implementation for us. But it is going to cost us more money, perhaps. I mean, when I talk about the other contract with the other company, they came in lower, but they were asking for other things, in return. So, which did cost money. So I think we'll end up doing pretty well with this anyway. Negotiations, like I said, are just about to conclude, we hope. We've gotten through the PSTA so far, so that's great. And that is, we did put those assumptions in the budget. So what you see here as far as the multi-year projection includes those numbers, as well as what we assume that is going to be for the other units. So I wanted the board to be able to see this is with that in there instead of trying to figure out, can we afford this or not. The MYP revenue is dependent on that declining enrollment. Like I said, it's just something that we have to it's always in the back of our mind, that declining enrollment. Additional budget reductions depending on unknown expenditures. Obviously, things like lawsuits, insurance premiums going up, special needs, personnel costs, and so forth. At some point, we may need to take a more aggressive approach, but for right now, our approach has been, like I said, we took that $30 million and kind of spread it over that 5 years, taking a slower approach, making sure that we're very accurate and we focused only on vacant positions at this particular point when we're talking about personnel issues and we analyze each position as they come up to determine whether or not it's a truly needed position or not. And one other thing, like Dr. Pfeffer said, this is the 26-27 within this multi-year projection is the last year of the LCAP. So we truly analyze at that point what's working, what's not, and then we focus on what's working, change things around, make sure our budget is more focused on things that are working, maybe things that aren't working get removed and so forth. So that's something that kind of comes up in the middle of this particular cycle. And then we have the one-time discretionary funding, as I mentioned earlier, that will help delay the position reductions as well. So it's kind of a slow approach, but I think it's the right approach. Unless something really changes drastically in this, we could keep going with that. But if we have a drastic change, then we may have to take more drastic measures. As I get into the multi-year projection for our budget here, just want to remind you that these are just projections based on what we know now and what we think is going to happen. And that's oftentimes, as I mentioned, last year we were, the projections made it look like we were in a worse spot than when we are this year. So each time we do these projections, that we update based on the knowledge that we have. As you can see here that, when we're looking at revenue versus expenditures, the back one being the expenditures, each year we are spending a bit more than what we're making, and that even includes for a transfer from Fund 17, which you can actually see right here. On this particular slide, the numbers in yellow there indicate the deficit budgeting that we're looking at. The numbers in blue indicate the borrowing that we kind of need to do from Fund 17. At least most of that is from Fund 17. But you can also see at that bottom red there, we'll still have about 3.2 million anticipated at this particular point. So that's actually really good. We still maintain our reserves. We still maintain the full committed amount that the board has put aside. The assignments are going to dip about $3 million each year. At least, again, those are projections. And then Fund 17 begins to reduce down. But that's really what Fund 17 is for. That's our strong fund balance that gets us through these tougher years. And then we see, what we can, how we're going to do coming out of these years. Combined general fund is basically the same situation. It just adds in the restricted amount. It's a little bit more drastic as far as expenditures because this is where all your one-time grants are. So as you spend those, as you make those revenues and you spend them, it becomes a lot more lopsided because if that money's spent, it's no longer in your fund balance. It's completely gone because it was a one-time expenditure. To kind of see that a little bit better here, again, the yellow is the deficit budgeting that we're talking about, and you can see how that legally restricted in green continues to go down each year, mainly because of those one-time grants that we talked about. This is kind of how those look. The unrestricted side is we spend about 87% of the unrestricted side in personnel, about 2% in supplies, 10% in services. That's actually a really good number. Some districts are as high as 89 to 91%. So, we're doing, this is about average for all the districts, but I've seen it higher in some other districts. Restricted general fund is about 72% personnel. This is where we get a lot more services. Particularly, this is where M&O, the maintenance and operations, kind of lies too. So there's a lot more services and supplies here, mainly for that. Special education also lies on this side as well. So. And this is kind of the difference between estimated actuals, how we're going to end the year compared to the budget this next year. And you can see that it's pretty drastic differences between the revenues and the expenditures. And, between the revenues from estimated actuals to the budget and then the expenses between estimated actuals to the budget. So both of them are reducing proportionally. That's because of all the one-time grants that we had this year that aren't going to be there next year. And that was mainly the ESSER funds that needed to be spent by the beginning of this year that we have spent all the way down, I proudly say. And but we also had the carryover from that too. So that was the revenue plus the expenses, meaning it's much higher. But that was really mostly about the one-time grants. And that's where the ending balance becomes lower too. Is you spent those one-time grants, they're gone, they're no longer in your ending balance. So the other funds like the charter school, the cafeteria fund, and so forth, the special reserves fund 17, we talked about that one. Just for 25-26 here, you could take a look at this. This is it's not a multi-year projection here. It's just how we anticipate 25-26. So for example, the charter school, we do expect some deficit spending there. Their beginning balance was pretty strong at 5.3 million, still very strong at 4.7 million. Cafeteria fund actually has too much. They need to spend a lot more. The state has come through and said that they need to continue to budget a deficit. They need to spend this down. And then, like I already explained, Fund 17, for example, is kind of where that's also a general fund a reserve that we use to borrow as we need it for our general fund unrestricted funds. Give you a second there for that one.
So Jeff, is a yellow negative, or just when it has the parentheses?
The yellow is just highlighting what I wanted you to really focus on. The negative would be the parentheses, and that would be the deficit. So, all right. I apologize if I've gone too quickly for you guys. We're just about done here. So the budget cycle and recommendation. The budget cycle remains the same always as we go through this. We do estimated actuals and budget right now. We come through with unaudited actuals in September for 24-25. For 25-26, we continue on in December for the first interim and the second interim in March. And the cycle kind of begins all over again in May. But the recommendation here, I know that we showing deficit spending each year. I know that the state has indicated that there's some, slowdown, if you will. We have slowed down here. We have that stabilization plan in place. There definitely needs to be more work to be done there, but we are in good shape. And we continue to make sure that we're in good shape each year. This is a 3-year projection, so by 27-28, things are going to look a whole lot different for us and moving more into a positive direction. And that balanced budget is the goal by 27-28. So the anticipation here is a positive certification. You're going to approve this adopted budget on June 24th. And then, like I said, we have a stabilization plan that's built into these assumptions. Also built in is that transportation contract and negotiation assumptions. So knowing all of that is in there, we're in decent shape moving forward, and we have plenty of time to correct whatever we need to correct. So I'm very pleased with what's going on there. Any other questions? Did I do mine faster than Dr. Pfeffer?
Great
by
job,
40
Jeff.
seconds. I beat you by 40 seconds.
You did a wonderful job, Jeff.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
I agree with my colleagues, but I do have a comment.
I
I'm
went
an
by 40
accountant
seconds.
by training, and my head is hurting. There's just too much information for a presentation.
I agree.
This really needs to be presented in a study session. From my point of view, I don't know how my colleagues feel, where we could take an hour and go through this with you. And I would even like to be brought in a little earlier than 2 weeks before we vote on this. I would like to see how this budget develops over time. So take that into consideration, please, for next year.
Okay. I think that we still have to present it. I mean, I realize a study session is a public forum and the public can be there, but I think we would still have to do, if not a smaller presentation in this
Right.
format,
No, you still need
which
to
is
do a
fine.
presentation,
Yeah.
but
Yes.
again, I do this stuff for a living.
No, I agree.
And
this is
my
a
eyes
lot
are
to cover
cross-eyed right now.
and a 30-minute time span. I completely agree with you. If you want to do it that way, that's fine. We can certainly work on having a study session to really kind of dive into it a little bit deeper. That's no problem.
You could talk a little slower.
And I could talk a little bit. I could talk a little slower at that point. Yes. And we also, we put the presentation on the website along with the booklet. And one of the things that if you look through this, in the very back is called Criterion Standards, and that really kind of, if you begin to understand that, it really kind of gives you a sense of how your budget's doing, because it's all kinds of questions that the state asks, in particular, and measures it against, what the standard is. So
I understand what you're saying, but we're all pretty busy. So we're counting on you.
No, I agree.
To walk us through this and explain it in an understandable way that we understand it.
Yeah, and if we had a study session, I guess my point is, if we had a study, I'd be able to kind of
Right.
coach you through those particular things and get you to really understand this booklet more than, because otherwise it just looks like black and white numbers, if you will. So yeah, I completely agree.
More comments?
I do. I meant to clap because I saw the words positive certification. I also saw the word stabilization plan that has built in the assumptions of the changes coming up, and that this is so much positive information, even though It might not be what we want to see. It is what we need to see. So thank you.
Yes.
And your team, Louis, the book, and all of this, information. I love the background too that you start with. So we understand the trends in our government and economy.
Yes.
Thank you.
All right.
And I think maybe if it at a board meeting, if it's not maybe so many different long processes of different items back to back, I think that it would be beneficial. I think that having 2 long or 3 long presentations kind of, it makes people a little leery a little bit. So maybe possibly if we can maybe have them spread out a little bit more, that way we can give your presentation what it needs.
Yeah, unfortunately, well, I'm sure we can with at least one of them, but the LCAP and the budget have to be presented in that order on a meeting prior to actually voting on the LCAP and the budget in that order, because you have to have the public hearings for both of those. So unfortunately, those two are kind of tied together. And they're the longest ones, but we can shorten them down by doing a study session ahead of time, and then kind of covering the basics, because it's really the last 10 slides or so that was the actual budget for this district. So
I don't like it shortened, so continue to do what you're doing.
well, I think we were talking about making it longer in a study session is what we were talking about there. And
In the study session, we'd get all the details behind these numbers. We could ask questions a little more thoroughly, I think, become a little more familiar with this budget. He still has to come and do a presentation for the public. But I think for me, getting more of a heads up on this earlier in the process and in maybe a little slower pace than a 30-minute presentation at a board meeting would help me be able to wrap my head around it a little better.
More comments, Karen? Okay, thank you, Jeff.
all right, thank you.
Now we move to item 12, public hearing. The board now opened the public hearing for the local control accountability plan for both Palm Springs Unified School District and Cielo Vista Charter. Have any comment been received by the districts, the local control accountability plan? Okay, you ready?
Board President Espericueta, no written comments have been received for either plan that I know of. Is that right? Okay, thank you.
Okay, and is there anyone present who wish to provide comments or either plan? No? Okay, I see none. Later in the agenda, the board will consider approving the local control accountability plan for PSUSD and Cielo Vista Charter. And seeing no oral comments, I declare the public hearing closed. Thank you. And now we move to the item number 12C. Public hearing regarding the 2025-2026 budget adoption and the 2024-2025 estimated actual OE 5.1. The board now opens the public hearing on the 2025-2026 budget adoption and the 2024-2025 estimated actual as required by ED Code 42127. Have any comment been received by the district as to the 2025 budget adoption and the 2024-2025 estimated actuals?
No written comments have been received.
Is there anyone present who wishes to provide comments? See none. Seeing no oral comments, I declare the public hearing closed. And now we move to item 13, board member comments. Do we have any comments from the board?
Want to start down here? Okay. I just want to say congratulations to all of our 2025 graduates and students who were promoted. The high school graduations were all fabulous, and it was really exciting to be there and be a part of it. Thank you to Dr. Dimick, Dr. Pfeffer, and Mr. Sessions for your presentations. They were really full of information, and I know the board appreciates all your hard work on them and putting them all together. Thank you, Mr. Sessions. I know it's long and tedious, but it's well worth us knowing what's going on. Congratulations to our Knights honorees, and a big thank you to our students, parents, and community members for a wonderful school year. I hope everyone has a restful and great summer, and congratulations to our new superintendent. Really look forward to working with you. Thank you for choosing us also. Bye-bye.
Okay, thanks. First, I want to congratulate Dr. Funchess, and thanks for hanging out. Yeah. I guess you got to get used to it, huh? Anyways, I really, truly look forward to working with you. You're going to bring a wealth of expertise and knowledge to our district, and I know you and our district will achieve much success. So thank you very much. A shout out to Ellen Goodman, a very successful MTU at Willie's the other night. What a fun event. A good time was had by all. And thank David Green for us for that also. Okay. And Willie, I forget his last name? Willie Ryan for providing the venue. It was really fun. As our school year comes to a close, I want to extend my thanks and congratulations to our incredible teachers, our support staff, and administrators for a truly tremendous year. Your dedication, your resilience, your commitment to our students has been nothing but inspirational. Thank you all. Also, congratulations to all our graduating seniors and other students moving up through promotions. It's truly a moment of celebration and pride for your families and our entire Palm Springs community. I regret I was unable to attend all the ceremonies. Unbelievingly, I got ill last week, but please understand I was there in spirit, applauding and celebrating with all of you. I'd also like to give a special recognition to Maya Carbajal Cabrera from Desert Hot Springs High School and Fritzy Guerrero Navarro from Edward Wenzoff Education Center. These students were honored with street naming ceremonies by the city of Desert Hot Springs, and it was truly a well-deserved honor for both of these students. I also want to congratulate the team of freshman students from the Real Academy in Desert Hot Springs High School. They earned first place overall in the Coachella Valley Regional Kid Win competition. They went on to the World Kid Win Challenge in Phoenix, Arizona, and competed against teams from the United States, Taiwan, Mexico, and Croatia, which was no small feat. We are really, really proud and honored to have you represent our district in this event. Congratulations to the Lady Rattlers softball team on a fantastic and successful season. No doubt your hard work and teamwork have made us all in Palm Springs Unified extremely proud. And then finally, in light of the ongoing protests in Los Angeles, I want to acknowledge the deep emotions and concerns being expressed across all our communities. These are challenging times indeed, and it is my sincere hope that cooler minds prevail and that all voices can be heard in the spirit of mutual respect. Our greatest strengths lie in our ability to come and get together, even in disagreement, for the good of our students and our shared future. So I urge all involved to seek a peaceful and swift resolution to this situation. I wish everyone a restful and well-deserved summer break. Thank you very much.
Good job, John. That's great. I just want to say I, as well, with all of the board members, attended all the graduations. And I just want to say that it's very interesting the different types of students that we have at each one of our high schools. And they all take on their own mindset, and they kind of take on the ideal of the principal. I want to say Desert Hot Springs High School, they had a wonderful, their atmosphere all the time. Every time we go to their graduation is family. They have a really strong family feel when you go to their events or anything that they have. And people were lined up all along the gate, all outside, and it was just great to see all of those wonderful families. Our continuation schools, they have some of the best stories that you hear from the valedictorians and the salutatorians. Their speeches are emotional. They just you hear the pain, the struggle, everything that they did to graduate. And I just want to say that it's always great to be there at that school. Palm Springs, we had some of the craziest element. Exactly as soon as they started to play the marching band music for the graduation for them to walk out, the rain started coming like crazy. We were standing outside with umbrellas and we're getting soaking wet while we were there at their graduation. And so Palm Springs, you guys did a wonderful job as well. Rancho Mirage. The Rancho Mirage students were so rowdy. They were energetic, they were loud, they were having a good time. Their graduation was so powerful to see those kids having such a wonderful time at their graduations. So to these principals, you guys are doing a wonderful job of giving these schools your pride, your identity, and they look like you guys. So you guys are doing a wonderful job. I want to say congratulations to our new superintendent who's going to be coming. Thank you so much for coming out. I look forward to working with you. You have spoken about scholars, and so I look forward. That is a wonderful word that we probably should start calling our students as scholars, to get them in the mindset to understand what they're here for and what their goal is and what we look for out of them. So I appreciate that, and I look forward to the opportunity of working with you. Thank you to everybody here, all of the teachers, all of the students for completing a year that was filled with a lot of different things that we had to deal with, and we made it. So thank you, and that concludes my comments. Oh, and Cathedral City High School. Sorry. Thank you, Karen, because they would have not let me live that down. That was one of the most exciting representation of the staff. So at that night at their event, they had like a beautiful presentation where they had their teachers and their administration doing like a lot of great fun things and going and being excited and having an energy and excitement about their school. They did they had like some lights where the teachers were dancing with these lights and the students were getting involved. And they have an interesting thing that they do at their graduation to where they take their tassel and they do something a little different than anyone else, and they face their families and move their tassel from left to right. So they have also as well, and their principal definitely has energy. So she's bringing a lot of energy, and so you can feel it in that event too. And thank you, Karen. I'm sorry I missed you guys, Cathedral City.
Okay. I've just personally say to Dr. Marcus Funchess, I am excited to see you shine bright for us, and you'll see these suns all over the place. And this is 360 days of sunshine. So we are especially excited for you and excited for our scholars, and welcome in to you and your family. Echoing my board members' remarks about our graduation ceremonies and all of the promotions, well, I collect the programs, and I'm always asking, well, just about how many are there tonight? So I do have the information, but I'll just tell you that overall in our district we graduated over 1,500 students, and I won't tell you site by site. This is so special, and these mean a lot, because 50 years from my graduation, I have my program. So this year, I get to celebrate my 50th. And for our graduates, they get to show their art. They get to show their medals, their honors. They get to show how proud they are and how hard they've worked. And so for us, we go to maybe 6 commencement ceremonies in 8 days, but it is such an amazing event for us each year. So appreciation to all the people backstage, the people that held the flags when the stage was blowing away. You wouldn't believe how they tied down plants, how people sprang into action and helped along in each different place. So appreciation to all of the sites. We had the retirement for Dr. Signoret here on the 6th of June, and it was very a nice event, very well attended. Thank you, everyone, for the decorations and food. It was a very wonderful night to recognize Dr. Signoret. Being with Mr. Speriqueta at the Lady Rattlers softball game, and I had never been like on home plate, and he helped me understand a lot. The Lady Rattlers played the Orcutt Academy High School Spartans. They're from Santa Maria area, Division 5, and the regional championships. It was such a great game. It was very hot. Everybody came out. People drove from 29 Palms. They didn't even know the team. They came down. And especially Board President Speriqueta's niece, Jezebel, she is a freshman and she is on the varsity team. So we're going to be following her. We lost 5-1, but I'm telling you, it was such a great game, and that I need to put more of our events, such as something like softball I've never done. I had a chance to see right up close. It was super. We're very proud of the Lady Rattlers. Recently with KESQ, Adam Brown from our Nutrition Services was featured to talk about our programs for nutrition for our kids in the summer. Thank you for the messages that are going out to help our families with food and feeding for all of our families. We also, I saw a message about Palm Springs Library is having a summer reading program. We encourage our students to read through the summer. It begins June 9th with prizes, Nintendo Switches, Amazon cards, and a grand prize of pickleball with Chief Mills. So that is really exciting. We encourage our scholars to continue to be involved. There's one thing I'm going to ask everybody to do with the Desert Sun. Our student named Elena Vega. She's from Palm Springs High School, our female athlete. She's a junior, water polo, flag football, softball, swimming, and she's up for the Girls Athlete of the Year, and you have to vote. So go online and vote for Elena. And that's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you. I will be very brief. First, I would like to congratulate again Dr. Marcos Fuentes. Congratulations and welcome to Palm Springs Unified. Welcome to Coachella Valley. Muchas felicidades y bienvenido al Valle de Coachella. Bienvenido al Distrito Escolar de Palm Springs. Thank you for being here. Also, I want to highlight again the Rancho Mirage softball team, because they get one title in one division but this game was the state CIF final, and this was historic because it's the first time that any team from Coachella Valley made it to the state championship. Thank you, Joan Boyko, for all information that you share with the parent, with the community, in using different media, Desert Sun, the Noti Valle, Telemundo, all news around the Coachella Valley. Thank you for keep the community informed, and thank you, Miriam, for the whole picture that she took. And also, I want to congratulate all graduate students in the class 2025, and that the colleague Girel said that more 1,500 students in this year. And also I want to congratulate all students that was promoted from middle school, all students promoted for elementary, and of course all students promoting for kindergarten to start continue the journey to elementary school. And thank you to all staff, all administrators, all certificate and classified employees. Thank you all. And that's it for me. And now we move to item number 14, Superintendent report.
This is fun. I get to do this tonight. So, as the board highlighted, we had some wonderful celebrations to close out the school year. And believe it or not, today we officially commence summer programs. So, we also have summer school, including ESY and some wonderful ELOP programs for our students. So, thank you to all the staff who are providing support and enrichment for our students. And Dr. Funches, on behalf of Cabinet, welcome and congratulations for being appointed to be our new superintendent, and we look forward to working with you.
Okay, thank you. And now we move to item 15, board action item. Item 15A, approval of certificated and classified employees transaction. Can I get a motion to approve item 15A?
Move for approval.
Second.
Any question? Please vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion passed. Item 15B, approval of 2025 revised LCAP federal addendum for Palm Springs Unified School District OE 10. Can I get a motion to approve item 15B, please?
I'll move it.
Second.
Any question? Please vote. All in favor?
Aye. Aye.
Motion passed. Item 15C, approval of 2025 revised LCAP federal addendum for Cielo Vista Charter School OE 10. Can I get a motion to approve item 15C?
Move for approval.
Second.
Any question? No. Please vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion passed. Item 15D, approval of ratification of successor agreement between Palm Springs Unified School District and Palm Springs Teacher Association, OE 4.9.
I'll move it.
Can I get a motion?
Did we pull that
I
item?
thought it was F.
Pull
F as in Frank.
Oh, okay.
F, yeah. Can I get a motion to approve item 15D?
I'll move it, sir.
Move. Any question? Please vote. All in
Aye.
favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion passed.
Congratulations.
Item
Excuse me.
15E.
I'm sorry, President Espiricueta. Is it okay if I just say just a word on that item?
Sure.
I'm sorry if that's out
Okay.
of place.
Yeah, go ahead.
I just want to recognize our labor partners here. As the lead negotiator for Palm Springs Unified, I'd like to start by thanking the negotiating team for all of their work on this item. I'd like to start with Jeff Simmons, Assistant Soup of Business Services, Brad Sauer, Executive Director of HR, Tony Carrillo, Director of Fiscal Services, Jessica Whiteman, Director of Elementary Curriculum and Instruction, Omar Tinoco, the Principal of Desert Hot Springs High School, and then our legal counsel, John Ratchick with Atkinson Andelson. I want to thank them for their time, insight, and their solution-oriented approach to arriving at this. I also want to thank and recognize our labor partners, PSTA, for their partnership, and the leadership of our PSTA president who's in the crowd with us, Karen Johnson. The district certainly values this relationship. We work daily to continue to strengthen and honor that collaboration with them. And I want to thank their team, PSTA's negotiating chair, Jamie Dunn, along with their negotiating team, Valcine Brown, Brenda Perez Valenzuela, Brianna Sewell, Yvette Moside, Rob Travis, Virginia Martinez, and then also CTA labor rep, Tomas Martinez. So again, just to summarize that, really happy for this item for our labor partners. Really just want to summarize it as collegial, professional, and really just that shared commitment to continue making Palm Springs the premier district. And thank you for letting me step in and just say a couple words in gratitude. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Thank you.
Karen,
yeah.
Karen, I was just kidding when I said we were going to pull that item. I seen your face.
Okay. Okay. We move to item 15E, approval of consolidated application and reporting system, CARS, for 2025-2026 OE 10. Can I get a motion to approve item 15E?
So moved.
I get a second.
Second.
Any question? Yeah. Please vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion pass. Okay. Item 15G, approval of revision to board policy BP 6163.4, student use of technology, OE 10. Can I get a motion to approve item 15G?
Did we do F?
We pulled off.
Oh, you pulled that one. Okay.
G, yeah. F is,
I'll move item G.
Second.
any question?
Yes. As I was reading this revision to the board policy for use of technology, is this the inclusive policy that is specifically addressing cell phone usage? Is something separate?
No, it's separate.
Okay, thank you.
We're still working on the policy for that.
More question? No. Please vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion passed. Item 15H, adoption of resolution number 2024-2025 34, approval to provide a temporary loan to the Child Development Fund from the General Fund for fiscal year 2025-2026, OE 5. Can I get a motion to approve item 15H?
Move for approval.
Any question?
Yeah, just a quick one. Jeff, can you remind us how we define temporary?
It has to be paid back in the current budget year that it was borrowed. So that's the definition of a temporary loan. These are just in case type things. Sometimes, particularly with ECE, their revenue gets delayed, and so they need to, get their funds in order to make their payroll. It hasn't, that doesn't happen very often, but it could happen. So we put these resolutions out for you to make us have us be able to do that. But it has to be paid back within that year.
Okay, thanks.
Okay. Please vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion passed. Item 15I, adoption of resolution number 2024/2025-33, approval to provide a temporary loan to the general fund from capital funds for fiscal year 2025-2026, OE 5. Can I get a motion to approve item 15I? please?
So moved.
Second.
Any question? No. Please vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion passed. Item 15J, approval of amendment number 2 to leaseback agreement, Education Code 17406 with Erickson Hall Construction Incorporation for the transitional kindergarten improvement project, projects at Julius Corsini, Catherine Finchie, and Rio Vista Elementary Schools. Agreement number C0005053, OE 12.11. Can I get a motion to approve item 15J, please?
Move for approval.
Second.
Any question? No? Please vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion passed. Item 15K, adoption of resolution number 2024/2025-36, approval to award public works contract of $235,000 or less under California Uniform Public Construction Cost Accounting Act for the summer 2025 roofing project at JCES and PSHS OE 6. Can I get a motion to approve item 15K?
Second.
Any question? No? Please vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion passed. Item 15I, approval or rejection of claim number 2024-2025-0A, John Doe MF versus PSUSD 654067 OE7. Can I get a motion to approve item 15I?
So moved.
Ewan? Oh, the 15 Ewan, yeah, sorry.
Second.
Any question? No? Please vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion passed. Item 15M, approval of readmission of expulsion case 2024-2025-009 to Palm Springs Unified School District OE 11. Can I get a motion to approve item 15M?
Move for approval.
Can I get a second? No, I'm sorry, second. Are there any questions? No? Please vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion passed. And in this, we will take the decision in one vote. We will approve the following board action item in one vote, 15N and 15O. Would anyone like to put an item for discussion or review? No? Okay. Can I get a motion to approve expulsion cases 2024/2025-015 and 2024/2025-040? Recommendation and finding of fact and conclusion of law, OE 11. Can I get a motion?
Move for approval.
And I get a second.
Second.
Any question? No. Please vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion passed. Item 16 is the superintendent consent item. We will vote in one vote superintendent consent item from 16A to 16K. We will approve the superintendent consent item in one vote. Would anyone like to put an item for discussion or review?
Yes, Board President Espericueta, I would like to pull purchase order report for a separate vote, and I would like to pull agreements over $10,000 or more for a separate vote.
What item is that one? Which one it is?
I don't have the numbers.
Would you like to pull the separate particular
Ten-
items or the
$10,000
entire
on
the
that?
entire
No,
report?
I'm just
So it'll
gonna-
be 16B and 16C?
Yes, purchase order and over $10,000.
16B is approval of purchase order reports, 16C approval of agreement, over 10K, right?
Correct, that's right. Just a separate vote for both of those.
Okay, so it would be B and D.
No discussion.
B and D? Okay. We will vote from 16A to 16K except 16B and 16D. Can I get a motion to?
Move for approval.
Second.
Any question? No, the other ones.
What you're doing now is you're taking all the items except for the ones that Madonna had, right?
Yeah, except for 16B and 16D.
Okay.
Please vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, and now we will vote in separate one by one. Okay. Can I get a motion to approve item 16B?
Move for approval.
Can I have a second? 16B.
Second.
Any question for 16B? No? Please vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Nay. Okay. 4 in favor, 1 nay. Item 16D. Can I get a motion to approve item 16D?
I move it.
Second.
Any question? No? Okay. Please vote. All
Aye.
in favor? Aye. Or nay? 1. Okay. 4 and 1.
I do have a question.
Sure.
At some time, can we have like an accounting of, or just more information, not an accounting, but more information about the ELOP programs for the summer? Instead of just them listed like in a, well, they were listed in the votes that we're taking right now, but just a more explanation exactly what the kids are doing during the summer for ELOP. I know parents ask that all the time, and I get those questions, and I really don't know until I look at the budget so if we could get a little bit more information.
As I'm looking at Dr. Gascoigne, yes, we will prepare that
Okay.
for
I
the
appreciate
Friday,
that.
and we've included that information before, so just the detailed out.
Just, yeah,
Mhm.
I know that the kids enjoy the summer programs, so it would be nice if I just had a little bit more information.
Perfect. We'll take care of that.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. More question? No? Okay, now we move to item 17, information item 17A, yearly Head Start and Head Start report per requirement for the Head Start Act for March. Yeah. For March 2025 OE 10.1. The board has received and reviewed this information. Yeah. Item 18, suggestion for future agenda. Do any board member have suggestion for future agendas?
Board members, I have a suggestion for future agenda regarding my concerns over equitable spending and inclusivity of our students with special needs in all of our after-school programs, especially our summer programs. And so with that, and not seeing reports and not seeing plans or outcomes given to us when we were requesting them, I would like to request an external audit of our ELAP program. And so to do that, I would need 3 board members to agree with me, or 2 more. So
Will be live for what? For LCAP, the spending in
no, it's just ELAP.
ELAP.
It would assess financial and procedural integrity and our spending, that it would be equitable, especially for students with disabilities. Yeah. So my concerns are about equitable spending, inclusivity of our students with special needs. And I've attended the parents' meetings for students with special needs, and they're saying that their kids are not included in a lot of the summer programs, and so, or the events. And so when I go to those meetings on Zoom, I hear them and they're translated through a translator. And so I just want to make sure that our students have access and that we are, monitoring the program so that it does extend to every student.
Is that something that special ed students are excluded from?
We do not exclude our students, and I know we can provide information in the Friday about that. I know we've had conversations even during the school year. We can talk about the summer in the Friday, we'll add that, but even our students who have one-on-one, paraprofessionals who need support with nurses, we provide all of those supports for our students.
Are there reports and plans and outcomes that are written that are beyond that? I think I want to go deeper and know, the details, including the spending, the personnel, in our reports we see there's busing and transportation needed. I don't know if we see the whole picture. So that's why I would request an external audit.
Okay, so in regards to an audit, I'll let Mr. Simmons respond to that.
Well, it sounds like you're asking more for a programmatic audit more so than a financial audit.
Well,
but I know we have an ELOP plan in place, so do you just need to see more details in regards to each portion of the plan that we have in place as to what spending is happening with that and whether or not it's equitable and who's hired under each one of those particular items?
I think that I'm looking for financial and procedural integrity, and that we could see spreadsheets of how much money we're spending and where we're spending it, and what are the outcomes. We're saying maybe 800 students. Are we paying for 800 students no matter what? I mean, just the details that we don't see other than, oh, we're going to the movies or we're doing this. There would be more, I guess, details about the whole program and those components.
Because our auditors do, look over the ELOP program and make sure that the money's being spent correctly.
Yeah.
They don't necessarily give a detailed report of that.
Yeah,
But
I'm
we
looking
can
at the
we can
integrity.
provide that as an internal audit,
Yeah.
if you like, or if you want an external audit, I can certainly look into that.
I just
Are you
think-
requesting for summer, winter camp, spring,
No,
as well as the after-school supports that are provided?
Yeah, with a budget
That
of,
would be the overall program.
with a budget of 21 million to 3 years in a row, this is a lot of money, and I'm interested to see, like, over the last 3 years, how has that money been spent? And I know we encumber it and we then spend it, and we plan with that, but I don't know exactly what we've been getting exactly. Like in our reports, we don't get buses, or we know how much we approve, but how much money are we paying for manpower? And that's a lot of money. That's $63 million over 3 years. So I think I want to see a close-up view of with reports and plans and outcomes and detailed spreadsheets.
We can give you that.
You can give us that then?
But also the overall programmatic pieces. How soon are you requesting that, being that ELAP summer program is taking place right now?
No. We can't stop the bus. And, I was thinking maybe 3 months for some type of, overview or book or something that shows the last 3 years and how we spent these funds from the state. And, if we look at the detail of this, that is amazing. But I think that hearing this same parent come back in the special education meetings saying my child is not given access to ACEs after school, to summer school programs. I know you're saying that everyone has access, and that is the right thing to say, because everyone does. And parents decide not to take their kids, right? But I think that I still would like to see our numbers and how many students not just go to the movies, but do participate.
And Dr. Gascoigne will be able to compile all that information and share that, and then I'll reach out to the Family Engagement Center, because if it was at one of our CPAC meetings, I would like to know who that parent is so that we can reach out to them.
Yeah. Is anyone interested in that?
I got it. I'm not, but maybe 2 others are.
That would be like a report that we receive in the public meeting, or?
I think it could be reviewed, and for transparency, using that much money, we should bring it to a public presentation.
I don't need that much detail. I think Karen's request, Amber, to provide us an update of what's going on out there, and maybe you can elaborate a little bit on transportation costs and the other extracurricular costs that go into the program. But I don't think we need to go into the weeds. Our philosophy is governance, not operations.
What I was asking for was just the program. I just wanted to know what the kids were doing. I wasn't asking for an
And we
audit.
usually provide that before the week begins, so we'll make sure you get that.
Well, I wouldn't mind having it. So I'm supportive in doing some sort of report or something that we need to do to find that. So I'm in support of it.
Yeah, I'm in support too, because we request we made a question in the last agenda planning, but we don't receive any response. And I support the same, yeah, to have the comprehensive report.
Okay, we'll compile and provide that for the board in the near future.
Okay, thank you. Now the item 19, next board meeting. Our regular and special board meeting will be here in June 24, 2025. Item 20 is debrief. Any debrief? No? Okay. Item 21, adjournment. Can I get a motion to adjourn the meeting?
Second.
Please vote. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Motion passed, and thank you, everyone. Gracias.